Well, hey, boys and girls. Here I am with our book of the week, Jamaica's Blue Marker. The title you see right up top, usually in bigger print, in bigger letters, Jamaica's Blue Marker. And the author, the one that writes the words, is Juanita Havel, and the illustrator, the one that makes the pictures of the book, is Anne Sibley O'Brien. Now, when you look at the book, this is the cover, this is the spine, this is the back of the book. Sometimes they put pictures on the back of the book. Now, when I open up, this book's very old, and notice it's got writing in it. That has to do with when it was teachers' books, sometimes have writing in them, but you should not write in your books. Now, this here is called the title page. And the title page, ooh, I wonder why they have a blue marker and a piece of paper there. What was this book about? Right, it was about Jamaica's Blue Marker. Now, one thing that we're practicing doing is answering questions about key details in the book. Say, I can, good. Answer questions, good. About key details, good. In a story, very good. So we're going to think about what are those key details. Now, we're only reading the beginning of the book. And then I will show you the 2 workbook pages you will do. So I'm rereading just part of it. It says, Jamaica closed her eyes and thought about her picture. Mrs. Worth always said to think first and then draw. So there she's very quietly working and thinking about what she's going to draw. Jamaica opened her eyes and drew a tree on her big sheet of paper. Then she drew leaves falling off the tree and colored them yellow. Jamaica, Mrs. Worth said, could you please share your markers with Russell? He doesn't have any. Well, you would think, yeah, that would be a good, nice thing to do, right? But, oh, Jamaica does not look happy. She says, he never has anything he needs, Jamaica thought, so she's just thinking in her head. But she said, okay, even though she really didn't want to share her markers with him. Now, one thing when you're trying to figure out the key details of a story, you look at the clues. It's kind of like being a detective and trying to look at the clues. Here you have a clue of how she's feeling. How do you think Russell's feeling right there? The teacher's hands are on his shoulders. His head's kind of down. He looks a little bit worried. Maybe he's a little shy. And he really isn't sure if if she's going to let him borrow her marker. So there she's looking over. So the pictures really help tell and answer some of those questions. Well, Russell brought his paper to Jamaica's table. He sat down beside her and grabbed her blue marker. Look, she's looking at him. And he's looking at her. They're not sure what to think right now of each other. Jamaica picked up her brown and her orange markers to finish her picture. She didn't pay any attention to Russell. After a while, she peeked. Remember, that's one of those power words. She peeked. She looked over real quick at his paper. Now look at her paper of the detailed tree and look at his paper. Now, when you see somebody doing something like this, it doesn't mean they're not listening. Sometimes it may be that they don't know how to do it. So sometimes they may need help, but instead, Jamaica kind of jumps to a conclusion. She says, Russell was making squiggly circles all over his page. We're supposed to draw a fall picture, Russell, Jamaica said. Wonder how that made Russell feel. I wonder how that made him feel on that. Well, who says Russell. Well, Mrs. Worth, don't you ever listen. So see, look at her. She's yelling at him, and she's just all upset at him. Uh-oh, but he's about to do something that's not very good either. I don't have to. Russell reached out with the blue marker and made a streak across Jamaica's picture. Oh, that's not a good proactive choice. He's being very reactive, and she was too, because he may be feeling kind of sad that she's kind of like yelling at him in a way, like, how could you? You don't ever listen and all these things. Well, Russell, stop, Jamaica shouted, but Russell scribbled all over Jamaica's yellow leafed tree. Look, how do you think she feels? Very surprised and upset, very much so. So, let's think about what we've read so far. What does Mrs. Worth ask Jamaica to do? That starts this whole thing. Yeah, she asked Jamaica to share her blue marker. How did Jamaica feel about that? Yeah, not very happy. She was like kind of frustrated and didn't really want to be bothered. Oh, there's a power word. She didn't really want to be bothered. So she just wanted to work on her own. But instead, she said sure, she would share it, even though she kind of didn't want to. And then when Russell did have the blue marker, he was trying to do his work, but then she wasn't making, she didn't understand why he wasn't doing the exact same thing she was. So she gets mad and says, well, don't you ever listen? Because she's, feeling like she's being bothered. And then he gets mad. And what does Russell do? Yes, he draws on her picture. Now, is that a win-win for everybody? Oh, no way. It is not a win-win for everybody because she got upset and so did Russell. Usually if one person gets upset and doesn't take a breath and calm down, then the other person might get upset too. You have to learn to use those tools and calm down. So let's see, what did Russell do with that blue marker? Yes, he used it to scribble all on her picture. So here we go. It says, Mrs. Worth, Jamaica cried, Russell wrecked my picture. Mrs. Worth hurried over to their table. Russell, did you do this? She held up Jamaica's picture. Mrs. Worth couldn't get Russell to say, I'm sorry. He had to go sit alone and work on spelling until art was over. So here he had to go sit aside because he didn't make a good choice. Look what Russell did, Jamaica showed her father and brother when she got home. I tried, but I couldn't make another one as good as this. When she looked at the ugly blue squiggles, she had to swallow hard, kind of like not to cry. Russell is a mean boy. Did you tell Mrs. Worth what happened? Her father asked. Jamaica nodded. Russell can't use my markers again. I shared with him because he didn't have any. He never has what he's supposed to have, but that's no reason to be mean. Well, no, her father said. Russell shouldn't have messed up your picture. And her father's right. Even if Miss Jamaica may have, kind of sounded short and been like, you don't ever listen. It doesn't mean he goes and draws on her paper. You have to use your words when you don't understand what's going on. Well, how do you think Jamaica really feels about what Russell did? Yeah, she's not happy. Is she seeking first to understand Russell? No, because she just saw Russell make a reactive choice and draw all over her paper. So no, she's just upset and sad. And I understand because if you work really hard on a picture and somebody scribbles all over it, that would make you upset. Well, that's the beginning of the story. Now we're going to stop right there on this one. Now what you have is you have your workbook page number 1. And your workbook page, unfortunately, I don't have the workbook page. You see it looks kind of like this. Page number 1, it has 2 little boxes. Well, basically, you are going to draw a picture of the 2 main characters. So you should have one picture of Jamaica and one picture of Russell. Now, when you do it, think about a circle or oval head. You can think about the hair, maybe add hair. That could be Jamaica. Russell may have short hair. But in one box, you're going to draw Jamaica. And in the other box, you're going to draw Russell on that. So that is showing the characters. Everybody say characters. Good job. Characters of a story. Every story has a character. So characters of a story. Every fiction story for sure has a character. Sometimes they're people. Sometimes they're even animals. But right now we have Jamaica and Russell. So in one of those boxes, draw Jamaica, and in the other box, draw Russell. Then you can go on to page 2. So you get to do page number 1 and page number 2 in your workbook. And this is where you're going to draw the beginning. We just read the beginning. The beginning is only what happened in the very, very, very beginning. And how is our character Jamaica feeling in the very beginning? Well, here she's happy. She's kind of relaxed doing her work. Here, oh, look at those eyes. She's not too sure, and he's kind of shy. She's like, I don't know. And then here, they're thinking about it, but now she's maybe feeling a little bothered. And now look at that face. The mouth is open. She is mad and upset and angry and sad, a little bit of everything. And here she's telling her dad, and she said, remember, she had to swallow real hard not to cry. So you, on your page number 2, hopefully I can find the right way to show you these later, but page number 2, so you're doing number 1, page number 1, my book, this is the teacher book, looks a little different. Page number 1 here has the 2 boxes. So you're drawing a picture of Jamaica and a picture of Russell. Those are your characters. Then you go to page number 2 in your workbook, your last workbook, LAFS, Ready Reading. And you are looking here, and you can see the little book of Jamaica up top. You are drawing how Jamaica felt in the beginning of the story. Show me a face of how Jamaica felt. She could be angry, or she could be sad, or she could be frustrated, right? So think about, how did Jamaica feel, and try to show that in your picture. Remember, you need eyes, nose, make the mouth, eyebrows. They kind of, if they're down, they could be sad. If they're above, they could be just, if they're this way, they may be angry. Okay, I'm not drawing the example for you every time. I will do it just sometimes to help guide you. But I want you to use, don't let mom and dad just draw it all for you. I want to see what you come up with. What mom and dad can do is you tell them about your picture, and they can write a basic sentence or statement about what you said. So very good. Good job, guys. Super proud of you. Go be those reading detectives. You're looking for those key details. How did Jamaica feel? All right. Bye.